And welcome back. Now, something that I certainly am very passionate about. Now, the G-Sport Awards are the country's longest-running women's sports awards, and always held in August as the country celebrates Women's Day and Women's Month, of course. The nominations are now open. Last year, Caster Semenya bagged her fourth SRSA G-Sport Athlete of the Year award at the title for the 13th edition. And, of course, 2017 Women in Sport Media G-Sport Award winner Busisiwe Mokwena joins me now to speak a little more about these awards. Thanks for coming through.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start here. Let's talk about the importance of these awards. How would you characterize that?
You know, because we don't see a lot of women's sports highlighted and celebrated in the country, I think that's why it's important to have the G-Sport Awards, because they are celebrating the women in sports in general, whether you are an athlete or you are a journalist like me, or, you know, you are an administrator trying to make sure that women in sport are out there and celebrated.
And of course, Cass Naidu and the team doing a fantastic job. But how would you rate these awards? You know, how important are they to you as a female journalist?
A year wouldn't be a year without the G-Sport Awards. But also, even though they are a night to celebrate the women in sports, it's also a night for us to relax for once in a while and not, you know, think about deadlines or even though we still work on the night, but, you know, it's really great that we get to unwind and just celebrate being us, you know, and the work that we put in sports in the country.
And we hear a lot about the talk about the support or the lack thereof for women's sport. And of course, it takes platforms and initiatives such as these to help us in that regard. But looking at it and since its inception, how would you say that this has helped with growth in the sport and awareness for some of the issues that especially women's sport have to grapple with?
I think it has. The G-Sport Awards have helped groom certain careers. Because when I was nominated in 2014 the first time, not a lot of people knew who Busisiwe Mokwena was. Yes, those who read a lot on women's football knew, but not a lot of people around the country. And I've honestly grown since then. But also we've got to learn of other people in the sports industry, whether in media or other platforms as well. So it helps highlight, and also it helps grow certain other people's careers as well.
So if we take a national overview of what's going on, and it culminates in this wonderful night of glitz and glamour, and as you say, an opportunity to just let your head down.
Yeah.
But, you know, if we look at what's happening in the provinces, and I see now the provinces are being encouraged, you know, to send through their nominations.
Yes.
But what is the situation like at that level?
I'll speak of my province, Mpumalanga. I don't think we celebrate much of, you know, sports or women in sports in general. And the Mpumalanga Sports Awards have been there for a few years, but we don't know much about those, and it's a pity though. So, but I'm glad that now people in the provinces can vote for the people who are outstanding in their provinces, doing well in sport. You know, we don't have to. It doesn't have to be centered around in Gauteng anymore. But provinces can actually do that themselves. You know, because there are people, whether sometimes working in community media, who can be nominated because maybe they are not well known outside of their provinces.
Which is why I'm so glad that we have this opportunity, because it doesn't matter where in the country you're sitting and watching, or maybe lying in your bed watching right now. I mean, this is very important, and it opens up the opportunity for anybody and everybody, as Busisiwe says. Even if you are writing for your local community rag, you can be nominated for these G-Sport Awards.
Yes.
But then, you know, your passions, as Busisiwe, what would you say takes, you know, top priority for you in terms of your passion and what you would like to report on?
I report a lot on women's football, but I also report on sports in general. But I think my first love is definitely women's football.
So let's talk about Banyana and going to France.
I was really proud when they qualified for the World Cup, when they qualified for the finals at the Women's AFCON last year, because, I mean, they have been trying for years. I mean, since 1993, this is the first time that they've qualified for the World Cup. It's a huge thing. Yes, they've played twice at the Olympics, but the World Cup is the biggest football platform, competition out there. And I'm actually ecstatic that I'll be there with them, to report it. Yes.
See this black turn to green? I'm so envious.
Yeah, I'll be there, to report on their first ever World Cup. And it brings me so much joy, I've seen the hard work that they've put in, in all these years to be where they are today.
It's really amazing, and we really are proud of our team.
Yeah.
But then, when it gets down to the realities, if you look at the support, financial and otherwise, and, how would you say those sort of factors impact on just how well a team ultimately does?
With Banyana, I think what helps is the passion that these girls have for women's football. Even the players that are not in Banyana, the passion that they have for the sport, going back to their teams every year to play in the Sasso League and the other leagues when they're not even paid, it's a huge thing. And when it comes to Banyana, sometimes others have to put school on hold, or, sometimes take unpaid leave to make sure that they represent the country well. It's a big thing. It's passion. And when Banyana qualified last year, I was so hoping that, more corporate companies would come on board and support the team and make sure that, they will get more financial incentives when they go to the World Cup, or even, personal sponsorships for the individual players. But it hasn't happened as well as I had hoped.
The struggle continues.
Yeah, the struggle continues, but we still 2 months before the World Cup. Hopefully something is in the pipeline, and maybe before the team leaves for France, we'll see something happening.
And one really hopes that, something will change on that front, because we also have our netball team.
Yes.
And I'm so passionate about the netball team as well. I'm passionate about all women's sport, but, I really do follow the netball team as well.
Yes.
And really excited about their preparation and build-up to this World Cup as well.
In the last 2-3 years since Noma Plama came in as the coach, the team has changed.
She's been fantastic.
The team has changed. The performance of the players is unbelievable, and we can see that by how they play at the Quad Series. The Quad Series this year was really amazing. I mean, they pushed New Zealand to, they even beat England. It's things like this that we see that women in sport have the passion. That's why they keep going back and giving in so much to make sure that they do well for the country. I just wish the country would do more and just support them more.
Absolutely. But of course, it's going to take all of us to make sure that people are actually aware of these exploits and how wonderfully women and women's sport is doing.
Yes.
We have to bring that awareness. And thanks, Busisiwe, to you, to everybody at G-Sport, and takes the leadership of someone like Cass Naidu, to really help us propel and highlight the up-and-coming, but you're not up-and-coming anymore, you're now an established star. So, and thanks so much for coming through and speaking to us about this.
Thank you for having me.
So the G-Sport Awards, do look out for that. It's on social media as well, and if you follow me, you'll see I try as far as possible to also always share some of the stories regarding women's sport on there. And, it really is absolutely fantastic, and we are going to follow these teams and support them. And as Busisiwe said, hopefully something will happen on the sponsorship front, because it just doesn't make sense why women have to suffer like that when at some point you are throwing money at men's teams that are not performing. And that's a debate for another day. All right, let's leave it there. Let's take a quick break.